Hello and welcome to Algebra 2. Today is Tuesday, November 10th. Our topic for today is graphing in factored form review. Factored form review. Okay, we're going to start with a review of our four cases, our four possible end behaviors. Alright, the first possible one is if you have an even degree and a positive leading coefficient, be an upward facing parabola. Okay, what about if you still had an even degree, but this time you had a negative lead coefficient? You would have a downward facing parabola. Okay, if we have an odd degree and a positive leading coefficient, I'm going to have a down to up S shape. And if we still had an odd degree, but it was a negative coefficient, then it would be an up to down S shape. Great. We're going to dive into our first example. Okay, we'll call this example 1. Great. So I want to identify a couple things right off the bat. My lead coefficient is negative 2. And my degree, let's see, there's an exponent of 1 here and an exponent of 1 here. The negative 2 will not have an exponent because it does not have a variable, it does not have an x. So our degree is 1, 2, and 1 is 4. So we have an even degree and a negative coefficient. So our shape is a downward parabola. All right, let's go get our x-intercepts next. This will give us x equals negative 3, and it will cross the axis because of it's an odd degree. So if it's an odd degree on a factor, it will cross through the x-axis. If it is an even degree, it will bounce off the x-axis. Okay, so this will give us x equals 1. The degree is even, so it will bounce. This will give us x equals 2. The degree is odd, so it will cross. Okay, lastly, we need our y-intercept. To find any y-intercept ever, we put in 0 for x, so we have g of 0, negative 2 times 0 plus 3 to the first power, times 0 minus 1 to the second power, times 0 minus 2 to the first. 0 plus 3 is 3, so I have 3 to the first. 0 minus 1 is negative 1 squared. 0 minus 2 is negative 2 to the first. 3 to the first is 3. Negative 1 squared is positive 1. And negative 2 to the first is negative 2. Negative 2 times 3 is negative 6. Negative 2 times 1 is negative 2. So our y-intercept is at positive 12. Okay, we have all the information we need to graph now. Let's fill in our x-intercepts first. I've got negative 3, 1, and 2. We know our shape is a downward parabola. And we have our y-intercept up here at positive 12. Okay, we can start graphing the curve. I'm going to come towards negative 3 and I'll cross the y-intercept. 1 says bounce, and then cross through positive 2. And this graph here is our final answer. All right, we have one more example today. Great. Okay, our lead coefficient is this positive 4. Our degree, let's see, x will have a 1, and x plus 3 will also have a 1. So our degree is 1 and 1 and 3 is 5. So in this case, we have an odd degree and a positive leading coefficient. So we have a down to up S shape. Okay, let's do our x-intercepts. This 4x will give us a 0. Because if I set 4x equals 0, divide by 4, 0 over 4 is still 0. Its degree is odd, so it will cross. This will give us negative 3. Degree is odd, it will cross. This will give us positive 1, also odd degree, so it will also cross. Okay, the last thing we need is our y-intercept. So I get f of 0, 4 times 0, times 0 plus 3 to the power of 1, 0 minus 1, 2. 4 times 0 is 0, 0 plus 3 is 3, 0 minus 1 is negative 1. So 0 times 3, negative 1 cubed is negative 1. This will all come out to be 0. Okay, we have all the information we need to go ahead and graph now. My x-intercepts are 0, negative 3, and 1. I know my end behavior is down to up. The y-intercept is also 0, and all of these are cross. So I'm just going to go through my intercepts here. And that's it. This graph here is our final answer. All right, that's all for today, guys. Thanks.